Hey, Ryan Castle here. I'm the Government Affairs Director at the Charleston Trident Association of Realtors. Wanted to bring to you guys our monthly legislative update, but we're going to do a little different this week, this month. We have our voters' guides now online for the Charleston, Berkeley, and Dorchester counties, each one for those counties. Your peers, realtors, have sat down, interviewed candidates, made recommendations, and have put out recommendations to vote for on realtor-based issues, private property rights, no new taxes on real estate, quality of life issues, on what candidates and what issues are for referendums to vote for. Today we have Chris Frazier, who's a past CTR president and a Charleston County School Board member, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about Yes for Schools, the 1-cent sales tax to build new schools in Charleston County. Chris, what exactly will be on the ballot in November?
Ryan, November's ballot will have a very detailed initiative. I don't know what number it is on the ballot, but it will detail what a penny sales tax would do for Charleston County schools. It's got a list of projects which include 17 schools and some other facility improvements that could be accomplished in the course of a 6-year period. We estimate that penny could raise anywhere between $400 and $500 million, and depending on how much we raise dictates how much we're able to do.
And we're talking about 17 new schools pretty much, and then some other associated projects that would be rebuilt with this penny sales tax. And they'd be all over Charleston County,
That's right.
From West Ashley, James Island, Mount Pleasant, North Charleston, downtown. This came about when you guys had 4 schools that you had to move children out of this year, move them several miles from where they live,
Right.
go to school somewhere else because of seismic safety issues at those 4 downtown schools.
That's correct.
And the rest of the projects come from and I guess you put it good another day, you have to do these 4 projects and you need to do these others.
That's right. We do have to do the 4 projects. We made a commitment to the community, the students, the families, that we would rebuild those schools and bring those children back to their home schools. That was something that came up that had to be done. The long-term view of the district has always been to try and get all of our schools up on par with each other. And we've still got some pretty big disparities in terms of functional obsolescence, where we've got some schools in a community, like Mount Pleasant, for instance, has got a brand new Moultrie Middle School, and then there's Lang, which isn't. And that's true in all areas of the county. So what we're trying to do is bring as many of the buildings as we can up to 21st century standards to give every kid across the county the same opportunities.
And if the sales tax fails, you will increase property taxes to fulfill your commitment to those 4 downtown schools.
That's right.
And everybody in Charleston County will pay for the property tax, yet only the 4 downtown schools will see the benefit of it.
That's right. And what sometimes I think people get confused on is Act 388, as you know, exempted homeowners from paying property taxes for school operations. That is not true with regard to the debt service. So this property tax increase, even though none of us want to do it, it's the only mechanism we have available. It would be about a 30% increase on the debt service side for all property types: commercial, residential, owner-occupied, non-owner-occupied, land, everything. So,
and the average increase for the property tax, $60 per 100,000 assessed value at 4% for owner-occupied.
That's right.
And then $90 per 100,000 for 6%, which is non-owner-occupied in commercial buildings. That would be the increase for 8 years, while the sales tax is only 6 years, and it stops.
That's correct. Yeah, two points to clarify there. The 8 years, it's got a curve. So it's not that much every year. It ramps up because it takes you a while to spend the money. But it's a quick curve, and the bulk of the property tax increase is over about the same 6-year period as the sales tax. The sales tax has a beginning and an end. 6 years from now, it's over, and we raise whatever we raise, and we do whatever we can do. The school board does not have the authority to extend it, only the public does. So if anybody wants to extend it at the end of that period of time, it's got to go back to the public, and they get to vote on it.
And you guys have done a good job of, there's schools out there. Sanders Clyde's comes to mind. It was a horrible school in condition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was deplorable that kids had to go there.
Yeah.
You rebuilt that, and you're revitalizing the community around it.
Right.
You've done that in North Charleston as well.
That's right.
You've done that in West Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like when you're rebuilding these schools, the communities around them are being revitalized as well.
No question about it. You get re-engaged community involvement. It shows, I think it shows the parents and the families that the school district is committed to their children, to giving them an equal opportunity for a good education. People say, well, gosh, good buildings don't make for a good education. Well, that's not necessarily true. There are big programming differences and opportunities in the new schools as compared to the schools that were 50 and 60 years old. They're functionally obsolete. They don't have the ability without a lot of money to be wired for today's technologies, and that's part of what the education process is.
And I know, for example, in Mount Pleasant, you're doing a career-oriented program with those schools over there that you're planning on building. Mm-hmm. And it seems like a lot of the focus of the school district's economic development, mm-hmm. preparing kids for jobs,
that's right.
and hoping, because the part of the whole solution is having kids prepared for jobs so more companies come here, and because we have an educated workforce.
That's true. In fact, there's state law now that compels us to have career academies in 16 different career specialties, and we're trying to make sure that all of our high schools have the ability to offer as many of those as possible, so that, as you say, it creates economic development opportunities as well. I think the other point that people have got to recognize is that, if we want to continue to attract companies like Boeing or wind turbine facilities or other outside private companies, they don't just look at the quality of the output of your schools, because that's what we really need to do best, but they also look at the quality and the commitment of the schools themselves. If they're thinking about moving thousands of employees to this community, they're going to do a drive-by, and those schools need to look sharp. And I think that's a big part of economic development for our community, and we've got to think about that in that context as well.
And thanks, Chris, for being here today. I mean, I think it's imperative. The reason why the Charleston Charter Association of Realtors got behind this sales tax is because of the revitalization of communities that comes with these new schools, to avoid a property tax increase and the economic development prospects that come with the new schools.
Well, thanks, Ryan. We appreciate the support.